Alright, welcome back to Metemphysics Light version 7 through probably 13. And we'll just begin right away because we talked last time kind of about how disorder is entropy and it changes states because of energy, and we understood that order is nothing and that nothing contains unmanifested pure potential. And we discussed the involution and evolution of the atom in the microstate due to gravity. So now we're going to move on to cyclilinear happenings, which just means repetition of events. It's redundant. Circle of life, Ouroboros, goes around, eats itself until there's nothing left. It's kind of like us. We get to that state of information till we got so much information that there's nothing. Um, as we can see with the circle of life, it goes up and then it goes down. There's gravity on that down piece too of the circle of life. That's why you get pulled into that dark abyss. But to get back to logic, we can see that the circle of life is actually just becoming more ordered, organized, and becoming a reasonable state, reasonable voice. The disorder of light, so that would be like here is the motions. The sphere would be giving off strings of light, like the sun, would be expressed as gravities. These strings of each line, like let's say here's a ball and there's the strings, but the strings are perfectly symmetrical, so there's no space between the atoms or strings. Possibly the atom could be give a bit of empty space around it. That's the only thing, but Einstein actually proved on one of his models. If I had the book, I would show you, but it's all the circles connected. There's empty spaces, but you can compress it, and the spaces become just desolate. Gravity is the balance of all uniform bodies, so that just means that this planet and this orbit is in the perfect gravitational field to promote life and evolution of that genius. Earth would be Gaia, just expand upon what is. It's balanced by that, and this, as we can see, we can constitute from our own gravitational field that we are at gravitational equilibrium. If we weren't at gravitational equilibrium, we would be falling off the planet. We would be flying in the air without any look at the moon. There's a difference, gravitational equilibrium. So yeah, as disorder is expelled along the light rays, it moves due to velocity, time, and distance. V equals t over d. The velocity becomes less as the distance becomes more, and the time that it takes to travel becomes more. So as the lights get expelled, it eventually gets to a lower state of gravity in which it constitutes a gravitational pull that is less and collapses upon itself and returns to that nothing. But then the next segment automatically fills that space and it moves at perfect equilibrium. And the star, this is what I'm explaining right now is a star. The molecules which deplete themselves from an infinite source until nothingness or nothing exists is basically the depletion of order, or disorder, my bad. The depletion of disorder means there is you are basically not, how would I explain it? You are not confused anymore. You understand information. You understand the realm that we live in. So, as the molecules deplete themselves as a star, the star becomes a giant dwarf, so on and so forth. It explodes as a supernova. I'm pretty sure it wipes out everything. And that's the white light, and thus implodes eventually when it reaches its maximum potential existence of what it can explode to. It folds back upon itself and becomes disorder and order again. It's just the repetitive cyclilinear cycle. It's going like this. Double limits allow for inertia, so we can have 0 to 1 as the limits, is nothing and infinity, and between that gap is where the equilibrium is proportional. The essence of light is basically what we perceive in our dimension. That's pretty obvious, because if there was no light, we would not be seeing anything. Also, if you think about this, if there were no planets, would there be time? Now, that's an interesting question. I'll leave that for you to ponder. Light is impelled in the core as hydrogen atoms and helium. Well, more hydrogen, but through fusion, it creates an outward form of light. So by these hydrogen atoms collecting and boom, 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 it is a perfect, simple explanation that light is thus then a carrier of order, because it's actually coming together. So there's actually information in light, and that's what I was trying to explain in the definitions. All light is just general information. My body is ones and zeros. Pretty much all states between 1 and 0, that's all you need to know. So you go back into -1, but then you get into tricky realms of pre-existence and paternal existence, and you'd have to go into occult studies and do all that stuff just to understand the pre-existence before existence, and I'm not about that right now. I'm more about just this general theory that expands upon entropy, gravitational forms, geometric sequences, probabilities. Dang, that's crazy. See, right when probability of that happening right there, it was highly likely. Uh, 10. Okay, so we're back at light again. Light is constantly dispelling disorder at a continuous rate. So a star is giving off light at a continuous rate. It goes up and down from whatever state that is. Wow. All right, sorry about that, guys, but it acts from a state of infinite potential energy, the star, to 0. Nothing. And then once the dimensional plane of order is spiritual in nature and constitutes consciousness and matter, because basically here's this disorder atom going along, it's full of itself, boom, 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 going like a star, pulsating, then all of a sudden it depletes itself. Well, it has to fill that gap, so order is going to quickly jump in with consciousness and fill that. Man, these guys are crazy, but it's going to go and into the nothingness and expel a new system of order. It's going to be consciousness, which we perceive, which is all around us in matter. Consciousness is form. Spirit constitutes a nature that is beyond disorder. So as stated, when a depleted star explodes as a supernova, it is thus impressed and creates a black hole. So that's the popcorn kernel with implosion to reimplosion and involution. So boom, 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 like the equal forward reaction of balancing a proportional equilibrium. 12, the balance of law states, well, this is just a random law that I made up, so who knows what it is, that what must evolve must be through time. Well, that actually makes sense, because if there was no time, there'd be no balance of the proportional planes of geometry and gravity, and we would be basically stuck in the Dark Ages. Oh, wait, we are. That being said, all disorder and order become each other as the law of entropy dictates. So gas form, solid or liquid, they all exist as energy, so they do exist as disorder, order. Order would be considered less molecule rate. Disorder would be heated, fast rated things. If you look at molten lava, it's pretty fast, it's pretty heated, it's really disordered, it fluxes to any form. So what we can understand about entropy then, as energy, is that both disorder being expressed and or order being impressed are the perception of each other. So it's whatever we perceive. If we see something as disordered, it's disordered. But if somebody sees order in that disorder, then what is it? Well, there's a perspective of opinions. So it's the perception of the other. You have to evaluate other opinions to understand the disorder and order relationship, because if somebody's living in confusion, you want to help them out of that. That's disorder going to order. It's simple that way. It's a metaphor for pretty much all psychological and perceptual states of life. We perceive disorder as confusion, and what we can understand is to get through that confusion, we need the nothing of Zen. Zen is a very, very interesting thing. Nothing is really like it. But we can see that entropy defined as disorder becoming less in an open system. I might queue 2 more points will do. 14. The first point of gravity was the Big Bang. Now we can understand this, as that example before, the folding upon itself. But it's basically the nothing and the nothingness hits, combined, boom, really huge velocity, extremely immense amount of energy. We can't even fathom the potential energy of a Big Bang. The Large Hadron Collider, yeah, okay, throw 2 atoms at each other and see what happens. We'll create a black hole like they already did. Who knows what the military's doing? Because, yeah, think about it, Hadron Collider, like billions of dollars for like a 27-kilometer freaking ring, when, like, who knows what the military has already devised with all their funding. Man, this is crazy today. I'm sorry about the street. Outward strings from the Big Bang form disorder along the rays of time. Speed is creation. Creationists. This is the thing about creationism. This is how we can flaw them and say there was a Big Bang. We can say that the Big Bang was so fast, it was instantaneous, and all things existed as soon as it opened up. It was just like every moment Big Bang. There you see every moment it's going boom, 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 boom all around me too. That's how even I exist, because it's atoms blowing up and showing the disorder. And that's the thing. Light is based upon a quantum force, which is gravity, keeping it in place. That's the thing. There's a nuclei with the gravity of the atom pulling the light within itself, and it's keeping our system in perspective and orbital mainframe for us to, well, okay, orbital ecliptical Goldilocks states of gravity. And this is the last point, 15. It's pretty much all this is redundant, the points, but I'm just trying to drill it into your head right now because it could take a while to understand, but it's not that hard. A particle just outward push is the outward dimension, so the gravity pushing out to show the light, and it also pushes in to bring back the light. So that's how when you follow your breath, outward, breathe out, inward. It's just like gravity. You can see it there. And realities are basically atoms, right? So what we see is that each atom is a circle. That's actually a bubble or a sphere. All we really are just bubbles and spheres amidst this haze. And if you can see this, you can understand that even on the cellular level, mitosis and reverse mitosis are the key to seeing 2 as 1 and 1 as 2. But really, there is nothing. All this is nothing. Even what I'm saying is just a voice coming through. It's not like this is what is coming through me. And that's about all I want to talk about this time. I would say namaste, but I don't feel very happy about all that background noise. So I'm going to say sorry about that, and I'll maybe find a better time. But it's kind of random on my area to live. And anyways, a black hole just wants unity. Stars just want to explode, right? You get it. Namaste.